Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis, and welcome to Whiskey Business. On tonight's installment, the very first lovely lady to grace us with her presence on Whiskey Business is back for more, Leigh Sims, along with her equally lovely significant other, though that doesn't sound right. He's a handsome man. Blair Beavers is with us as well, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to get into a whole lot of fun stuff in just a little bit. Thanks for being with us. Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis, and welcome to Whiskey Business, the podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. And tonight, my bourbon babble, my whiskey wise, as it were, had me thinking about this. And you'll see how it connects to our guest here in just a moment. But over the course of your life, while you're growing up, or you're a young adult, or in my case, an older adult now at this point in life, have you ever looked at other people with just a little bit of envy and a little bit of, man, they seem to have the life. You see, you know where they live, and you know somewhat of their lifestyle, how they seem to be out and about, bon vivants, if you will, all about town. They know all the right people. They live in a beautiful home, and you have not contempt, but just a little bit of envy, and you say to yourself, man, they've got the life. It falls into that whole perception is reality kind of thing that you've heard so much about over the years. Yeah, I used to be that way, and at times I still get that way a little bit, but here's the deal. As the good Lord has graced me now with 60 years on the planet as I continue to drink, smoke, and gamble like I was a 30-year-old, and I thank him for that, I don't so much have the envy anymore. Because now I've noticed that when I go away and I go someplace for a few days, a week, 2 weeks, maybe it's someplace fantastic and exotic, a place that I could only afford to visit, mind you. But when I come home, I realize that when I walk into this 1935 home in Clintonville, and I walk into this, as you can see on this video, this eclectic, organized clutter, and I look around and I see all my books that I have at my disposal. And I see, you can't see it, it's behind you, that old leather chair, which I love, and I sit in every Sunday morning to read the paper. Yes, the paper. I still get the paper. And I have movies downstairs at my disposal. And I have everything that I love at my disposal. I realize that maybe, while I'm going through all that, there just might be somebody else peering in on the outside that says, man, he's got the life. Glad you're here with us, folks. We're going to have a great time tonight. And yes, that whole bourbon babble does apply a little bit. And I know maybe you two flinched a little bit when I said it because I said perception is reality. Joining us tonight, it's her second appearance. She was actually the first lovely lady we had on Whiskey Business when we first started this crazy adventure. Leigh Sims is with us, and Blair Beaver is with us as well. It's Beaver or Beavers?
Beavers.
Beavers, the plural. More than one beaver.
Yes.
Yeah. Blair Beavers are back again with us to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, when I mentioned that, I'll get to you, Hansberry. I didn't forget you. When I mentioned that, yeah, I kind of thought of you two because when I first met you two, you live in Miranova, which for those of you who don't live in Columbus, Ohio, Miranova is just this beautiful, beautiful place in Columbus, Ohio that some people go, oh, Miranova. It's a beautiful condo complex in downtown Columbus. And when I say on the outside looking in, the bon vivants. On social media, you guys are everywhere with the Columbus Craft Cocktail Tour and so many other events. And you seem to know all these people. And you seem to know all the right people. And you have helped me as a podcaster book some amazing guests based on the fact that you just know somebody and that person knew somebody and you've secured those people for us. So do you ever feel that people are looking at you that way?
No, never. I mean, we live in a nice place, sure, but that's not what's important to us. We do have a fun life, though, doing the cocktail tour and all the things that we do around drinking, which is our true passion. It's fun, but no, I can't imagine anybody would envy our life. We work very hard. We literally work 7 days a week.
And see, that's the thing. People on the outside looking in don't do the math.
Yeah.
They have no idea
Yeah.
how hard you may work to make it all look so effortless and easy.
Though saying that, it's not all that hard because, truth be told, we would be in a bar drinking anyway.
Uh-huh.
And so taking guests with us and making a tiny bit of money in the process is great. But yeah, we do have a good life. We work hard, but we play hard as well. So.
And you acknowledge that it's a good life, and
admittedly, it's a really good view.
yeah,
Yeah.
a good
We have a good view.
a good
from
view
our place.
from your place on Marinova. You have people over for Red, White, and Boom. You can see the fireworks, of course. Yeah.
It's
Never
fun.
been to Red, White, and Boom, but you're all over social media with everything that you do, and rightfully so. And speaking of said social medias, before my producer Greg Hansberry has a heart attack, let's discuss a little
When
business.
you go out of order, it screws me up.
I'm trying to keep you on your toes, young man. I was trying to make a more comfortable segue.
All
into
right.
it.
Annie's hungover.
And I'm hungover.
And he's
thanks.
hungover.
Whiskey Business is on all your favorite podcasting apps. Please subscribe on iTunes right there and rate and review us because when you do that, it makes us more discoverable. More people can find us when people rate and review us.
Isn't it interesting? Hungover, you can say discoverable, but you can't say it when you're completely sober.
Isn't that funny? Maybe I'm a
just the
functioning
perfect
hungover.
balance.
Yeah,
It's,
it's good.
when you're hungover, you can say all the elbows.
What else we got? We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Please subscribe to us there. Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis. You can watch all the shows unedited. So yes, my hungover and drunken nonsense that I always cut out from the podcast.
He
John
always
Whitney.
cuts anything that is besmirching to his online personality.
Which is why I watch it on YouTube.
Yeah. Thanks, Blair.
So you can see it all.
So please follow us and share with all your friends. Also, now might be a good time to promote the fact that we're going to be back at the Shadowbox, the upfront stage at the Shadowbox for another episode of The Premise.
The premise. We did it at Shadowbox on the upfront stage, and we are back on August the 20th with another go-round. Jerry Elliott will be our special guest panelist. Nikki Winkleman will be our special guest comedian, and our two competitors are two of the funniest gentlemen I know who are capable of doing both stand-up and improvisational comedy. So I don't know which skill they will use when they are handed their premise that night to have 20 minutes to write 3 to 5 minutes of stand-up material. But Jeff Gage and Jake Anarino will be our special guest competitors. So that's August the 20th on the upfront stage at Shadowbox Live. Tickets are $10, and we'll be posting it on Instagram and on Facebook to give you all the websites and details because I can never remember those things, but they'll be there. And we sold out last time, so we're hoping to see you there and sell out again. It's going to be a lot of fun, so we hope that you can join us.
We saw it front and center. Wholeheartedly recommend it.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a great value.
It's
super fun.
$10,
And
right?
we even
Yeah.
went back to see Jason Banks because he's super funny.
Jason Banks was our special guest comedian on the first show, and yeah, he's a funny guy. I try to stack the deck, for success,
It was great.
most of the time, whatever. Sometimes the only wild card is myself.
No, you were great too.
In the
Come
mix. No, but we're looking forward to another great time at the upfront stage, and that's basically what you guys do. But first of all, as a couple, how long have you two been together, if you don't mind me asking?
7 years, almost exactly.
7 years.
Yeah.
And was it? I can't remember if we discussed this in the very first time to go around, but was it the love of whiskey that brought you two together?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We met in a bar.
When I say that, sometimes the love of whiskey when two people meet, it could be at an AA meeting.
No, this is in a bar.
This was
At a bar.
Yeah.
Over a glass of whiskey.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, and we've been together ever since. So there you go.
What was the whiskey? Do you remember?
Oh gosh.
At the bar, I don't
Probably-
remember.
Yeah, probably Makers or Woodford, but yeah, we then swapped stories about what we had in our cabinet. So yeah.
what we had in our cabinets.
Yeah,
Well-
and we talked about this on the first podcast. So he had Noah's,
I had Noah's Mill and Angel's Envy at home,
Yeah.
and she had Blanton's and Pappy Van Winkle at home.
at 15.
She wins.
Yeah.
So we went to my place first
Right.
because she didn't want to share hers
I did
until
want
she
to
knew
share.
me.
I just wanted to trump you. I just wanted to make you feel like you had something great, and
Isn't
then
that
I'd be like, "Bam!"
Isn't that funny?
Bam.
With whiskey people, I mean, the Pappy Van Winkle, I have no problem sharing my Van Winkle,
Oh, no.
but I am going to be particular as to who I share it with.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
there's not somebody who like you didn't know him all that well
Right.
that night, while you were able to trump him,
Yeah.
but you didn't know him,
Right.
just the fact that you owned it
Yes.
was good enough to trump. But as far as sharing it,
Yeah. Don't know yet.
Maybe not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
You don't give your pappy to anybody.
you give it to somebody who can appreciate it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
my worst nightmare is that somebody would, I'm going to share this Pappy Van Winkle with you. And they go, oh, man, that's great. Can I have some Coke to put in it? Yeah.
What?
I'll shoot you dead. I will shoot you dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I totally get that. And then the Columbus Craft Cocktail Tour, I remember we started talking. It was kind of in its infancy on the first go.
It really was, yeah,
When
'cause
we
that
first
was-
started talking about it.
I don't know if you know this, but Blair looked it up, and it was almost exactly 2 years ago this week that we were on your podcast. the
Wow.
first
Is this
time.
our anniversary?
It's
This
our
is our
anniversary.
Well,
anniversary.
then let's meet our guest bottle and
Yes.
toast to our anniversary. Tell us what you, because
Absolutely.
Leanne graciously and Blair both brought two
Yeah.
bottles, one for sipping, and
Yeah.
that we're gonna put away because it's kind of hard and rare and hard to find, and another one which I just is this is your this while this one, the Black Maple Hill. Right here, you're going to learn something about. Leanne will tell us all about this one. This is one that's, if you can find it, it's one of those, coveted whiskeys. But this one, guys, ancient.
If you can find it.
Yeah, if you can find it. It's sometimes it comes and goes.
Yeah.
There's ancient age, and then there's ancient age. And this one is also on the bottom shelf. But don't let that bottom shelf deter you and make you think that it's shit whiskey. No, this stuff is made from the same juice as Blanton's and
Elmer T. Leigh.
Elmer T. Leigh. You can't find Elmer T. Leigh anywhere.
No.
And it's just not aged as appropriately or
and in a different area.
And
so.
it's $15 a liter.
right. I got a handle for $24.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good
so
stuff.
we're going to drink that a little bit later, but go ahead and open this one up and tell us a little bit
Absolutely.
about what we're going to experience here.
So the fun of Black Maple Hill, I think, is that it's kind of a mystery because people don't know that much about it. But let me tell you, the first time that we ever tasted it was actually the first time that Blair ever went to. I ever took him to Louisville, which is where I'm from, and we were doing the Urban Bourbon Trail. And the Urban Bourbon Trail, you go to, what is it, six bars
bars.
at least, and get a shot or whatever. You don't have to drink. You can get an appetizer if you choose to, but we, of course, drank. And we were determined to do the entire thing. We wanted to get our T-shirt that night. So,
So we did 6 bars in 3 hours.
yeah. And so we came across this. We were at...
It's easy math.
One flight each.
Yeah, it's easy
So
math.
we
6
tried
bars,
6
3 hours.
things.
So we went to this little hole in the wall.
I love hole in the walls.
It's called Dish on... Was it Dish on
Dish
Main?
on Market,
Dish on Market?
right?
Dish on Market, and there were these kids there, and they were like 22 years old, but they knew everything about every whiskey, which is pretty common down there and everywhere now. But
Even at such a young age?
yes, at such a young age. And we were like, so tell us what we should try. And he said, well, as soon as people find out about Black Maple Hill, it's going to blow up and you'll never find it again. So we were like, okay, let's try that.
Yep.
And he was right. It was delicious. And now you can no longer find Black Maple Hill. So this is, there's a black label,
I've had the black label.
which is super exclusive and very expensive.
I told
now.
you off the air that my brother-in-law, the student who has surpassed the master, who was a confirmed Scotch drinker, now just loves the trumping, if you will,
Yeah. Mhm.
on Thanksgiving of finding these rare bourbons, and the black label,
I like his
black
style.
maple. That's hard to say. Was one of them. So
Cheers.
here's to our anniversary.
Cheers, our
Hey,
anniversary.
2 years since the
Cheers.
kids have been
2
on the
years.
podcast.
Awesome.
And, oh my goodness, so much has changed.
Oh,
And yet
man.
nothing has changed.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's kind of a good thing on both ends of the spectrum.
God, what a wonderful nose that has. I mean,
Yeah, what do we tell
this
me?
is right
Tell
up
me what
my
we're picking
alley.
up here.
Like, I love, if it doesn't smell like a candy store, I probably don't want to drink it. And this definitely smells like you're walking into a candy store or an ice cream store. You know how you walk into an ice cream
Yeah.
store that make their own cones and you can smell that caramel and vanilla. It's beautiful. How old is this?
So they say that this one, the orange label.
Is that the orange label?
This is the orange label.
Man, I gotta get new glasses.
It should be.
Or stop drinking.
Or stop drinking.
It should be around 8 years old. And the way that they've kept this all kind of hidden in secret is that it is sourced somewhere in the Kentucky area and barreled and aged somewhere in the Kentucky area and then bottled and sold through a distributor in California.
Why the mystery? Why the intrigue?
So that they could continue to buy barrels and sell them. So they're kind of the Orrin Swift, if you will, of bourbon.
Nice.
They know how to source it. They know what they're tasting, and they source some of the best whiskey out there.
That is, it's got a beautiful finish.
Yeah, it's a wonderful whiskey, and so we tasted it that night, and we bought up everything that we could find, and then we couldn't find it anymore, and then this new liquor store opened up next to the Brown Hotel in downtown Louisville, and I just happened to be there that weekend and found they had 6 bottles of it because they had just opened. They were like holding their stock, so I bought every bottle. And giving it away and drinking it, thinking, you know, we would find more, and then
Because it was $47 a bottle.
yeah.
right.
So we drank it all, and then we had none, and then we happened to be in San Francisco for a friend's wedding. And one of the things we like to do is we like to go into liquor stores whenever we're traveling just to see what they have. So we were at Coit Liquors in San Francisco. And we're looking through stuff, and we're like, there's nothing particular, and we're about to leave. And I hear Blair. I'm at the door ready to exit, and I hear him yelling from the back of the store, "Oh my God, they have Black Maple Hill!" So I run back, and
And it
someone
was
had
on the top shelf of a 10-foot
very tall, yeah.
ceiling.
And
Like, it
someone
was
had
hard to see.
You had to look up.
yeah, and someone had removed the bottle that was in front, so it was like set back a bit. So we asked the proprietor, "How many bottles do you have?" And I think 4 or 6. 4. So we were like, "We'll take them all." And this is the last of.
Oh, and you're sharing it with us.
Our Black Maple Hill.
We are honored.
And
Honored.
we
Beautiful.
were talking about what
Beautiful.
we would bring tonight.
Yeah.
And we just recently drank the last of our Black Label, Black Maple Hill, with our friends who donated their time, our bartenders who donated their time for Blair's fundraiser, Cocktailing for a Cure, which benefits Pelotonia. So we love to make moments and memories out of sharing our whiskey.
Absolutely.
Cocktailing for a Cure has already happened, and I think that our recent guest, Jesse Hubbard, was actually at that event as
We
well.
love Jesse
Yes.
Hubbard,
Right?
yes.
And Jesse, well, you guys, we saw you the other night down at the Great Southern Whiskey Bar, where he featured the whiskey business cocktail,
Which,
that
by the way, is delicious.
he concocted. It's a little sweet, but damn,
It's
it's
delicious.
good.
But a great cocktail.
And
great cocktail.
way to go you for branching out into cocktails, because I know you're not a cocktail.
I know, right? Right? Because normally you remember that I like to drink my whiskey neat
Yeah.
or on ice, and that was a little bit different for me. As I said, a little sweet for me, but
Yeah.
I still loved it. And apparently, he told me that they sold about 42 of them last
That's
night
amazing.
alone
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
at the bar. So I don't know what
Jesse.
what he's charging the average consumer at the Great Southern Whiskey Bar, but that had to be a good night for the bar.
I think it's
Yeah.
$12. It's reasonably
12
priced.
bucks.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, where's our naming rights or percentage? Man, no wonder we're never gonna get rich. But this is delicious, and it brings up an interesting question. But I want to go back first, and I'll get to that in a second. But cocktailing for a cure. What is your association with cancer and the disease itself? that you're so passionate about you're going to be riding in Pelotonia, which is this coming weekend, this podcast will air after that. You did Cocktailing for a Cure. What is your connection to it?
So I've had family members who have been affected by it, aunts, uncles, cousins who have died from cancer. And it was 11 years ago when Pelotonia came to Columbus. Friends of mine and I thought, we're going to be riding that weekend anyway. Why not do some good while we're riding and raise some money, raise some awareness? One of my best friends who I ride with, both of his parents were taken by cancer at a young age. And here we are coming up on the age that his parents were when he lost them. And so we decided to ride. And now, 11 years later, the two of us have ridden every mile, every year together.
On Pelotonia. And last year you had a little bit of a...
Yeah, so last year I had a spill. About 45 miles in to the ride of the first day of 200 miles. Some careless riders took me out, rode me off the road.
When you say careless, were they literally careless, or were they actually malicious?
I don't think they were malicious.
Okay, so
I really don't. From the
Say,
conversation,
why would you choose to be malicious at an event like that?
Exactly.
Exactly.
No,
unless of course Blair Beavers is a spy and they were trying to actually, take you out, and that was the perfect event to do it, and nobody will be suspicious.
Well, I am not, and I don't think. No, they wouldn't have known. They couldn't have known.
Some evil Russians try to take out Blair Beavers. We'll ride for Pelotonia. We ride. Kill him. Yeah, no. So it wasn't malicious.
No, so it wasn't malicious. I'm sure of that. And I would hate to think that. No. It was just an accident. Though. It was unfortunate. And in that accident, I broke my pelvis in 4 places, and I broke 3 vertebrae, and my pelvis went out of alignment, and I wound up in the trauma unit at Grant for 5 days.
But he's okay now.
I'm fine.
Well, he's like I said, this podcast will air after the fact, but he's riding this weekend.
Right. And then, so another great thing the one good thing that we kind of turned that into was a recovery ride. So a good friend of mine who owns Roll, Stuart Hunter, reached out to me while I was still in the hospital and said, "Hey, I feel really bad that you lost out on your miles. I'm one of like 25 people who have done every mile every year."
How many miles is it?
It was 180 miles a year, and now it's 200 miles a year.
So you've ridden the whole, except for the spill, the whole 200 miles.
Exactly.
How long does that take?
It's in 2 days.
It's over the course of 2 days.
And it takes us around 6.5 hours for the 100 miles.
Okay, unbelievable.
Each day.
I can't be in the car for 200 miles without getting restless.
Let alone on a saddle.
Let alone on a skinny little bike saddle. And do you ride as well?
No.
No.
No, I stand on the corner with my foam finger.
Yeah.
And say, "Thank you for riding. Be safe."
Everybody needs a support.
That's our
Absolutely.
cheerleader.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it's remarkable, man.
So my friends created this recovery ride so that I could make up those lost miles. And so last month we did 155 miles in one day.
Wow.
There were 6 of us, 9 hours and 42 minutes in the saddle. And we would not have made it if it
7,000, how many
7,600
feet
of climbing during the ride.
hills. Yeah, can you imagine?
No,
I was in a
that
truck.
doesn't seem fair.
I know.
It doesn't seem fair to go that many miles and then go, oh, there's 7,000. How many?
7,600 feet of climbing.
Yeah, that doesn't seem fair to have that many feet
I don't
of climbing as
I was,
well.
I was in a
No.
support truck with our friend Ryan and Haley, and I was tired just driving around.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we stopped at Amish places and bought pie, and stopped at ice cream stores, and
don't get me wrong. You know, I'm on the same page as you. I'm not gonna be on the. But we both contribute to these charities and these events and these
course.
causes in our own
Yeah.
way. And thank God for people like you
So-
who can set an example and do it your way.
So
Yes.
here's the thing. When we started, I thought, if I were to just donate to somebody else riding
Right.
or to any charity, what are you going to donate? $100, 150, 200, whatever. In 11 years, I have raised close to $40,000.
It's awesome. On your own. I mean, there's
And not on my own, because of my friends donating to me riding.
But kind of on your own. I mean, you're the one that's riding the bike. You know,
Yeah.
you're the one that's
Yeah.
putting in the miles. You're the one that's doing the 7,642 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's pretty
Hills.
amazing.
That is pretty
It's
amazing.
amazing, and his friends are so wonderful. He has his friends that he rides with regularly, and it's a good thing. It's
It
good.
is.
And Pelotonia just did a grant with the James, and they gave $102 million to open up a new center for prevention.
Yeah.
Which is just
Amazing. And that wouldn't have
amazing.
happened if it weren't for the funding that we've been creating
I
over the last 10 years.
I cannot bring to mind an event that has grown so quickly and successfully like Pelotonia has. I mean, it was a smart,
Yeah.
successful
Yep.
Yeah.
ride from the get-go and has just continued to grow and prosper.
And I always wonder
it's
if it could
amazing.
happen in any other city other than Columbus, because that kind of is like that's the essence of Columbus. Columbus is there's a problem, we need to solve it together, and everybody's on board. I wonder if there would be that much success in another city.
That's one of the things I love about our city is
Yeah.
that there is, you know, I mean, sure, we have our problems like any other big city, but
Right.
when you get that sense of community, it's amazing. I always found it to be amazing when we would do the fundraisers for Children's Hospital on the radio station, how people would just, you know, in good times, bad times, hard times, people always found a way to do and give something and make those a success each and every year. It's a very, very generous city.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
and you guys should be very proud of yourselves. I mean, I know you don't do it for the you know, the pat on the back.
No,
You do it
no.
because you love it, and it's something that you sincerely want to be a part of.
So to continue on to your question about cocktailing for a cure.
Yes, thank you for coming back to that.
3 years ago, you know, we had already started the cocktail tour,
Right.
the Columbus Craft Cocktail Tour, and we thought, how can we bring these two things together? Like, we love the cocktail tour. We want to highlight all of these great bartenders that we know, but we need to raise some money, fundraise for my ride. And so that's where Cocktailing for a Cure came in. So we created this one event that brings the cocktail tour under one roof.
And that was the first one.
3 years ago was the first one. This is the third.
This is the third one. So
And we're raising, this year we got just shy of $2,000 raised just for this one evening event.
that's great. I
Yeah.
mean, if you made $40,
Right.
Yeah.
good.
Right.
Right.
You know,
and these generous
yeah,
bartenders
yeah.
give their time and are so enthusiastic and share their knowledge with all of our guests. And
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
much
We're
fun.
so lucky to have such great friends. I mean, Christina Basham has stepped up every year. Seth Loffman steps up every year. This year was a first for Logan Demi and Jesse Hubbard, who you know. But also we get donations from Rock Mill. They always donate things for raffle.
OYO.
OYO, Middle West Spirits, always
stuff.
donate stuff.
Again, Middle West Spirits, we've spoken to you many times via this YouTube and audio. I want them on the show.
Oh, well, we can. Yeah, we know. I used to work there. I was their very first
want
tour guide.
them on the show.
Well,
I want them. I mean, technically, does this count with you
No.
having worked there? No, not gonna.
No, you want to talk to Ryan Lang. And Josh Staley. They're Brady Kanya is the other owner, but Ryan and Josh, they're the distillers, and they have
Yeah,
amazing
because
stories
they're
to
putting
share.
out some fine whiskey. As
They
well.
really are,
They really
and they have an
are.
amazing story and hardworking, cool people.
Which brings me back to something you mentioned. You grew up in Louisville.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And you mentioned when you were down there, these 22 and 23-year-olds knew their whiskey.
Yeah.
Now, when you were 22 and 23, did you know your whiskey?
I did not.
Even though, despite the fact that you were born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky?
No. I was a late bloomer with regard to drinking because I was a very young mom. So I didn't get to drink when I was young. So we're catching up. That's what we're doing. That's why we drink so much.
Making up for the lost time.
Blair's the same. He was a young father. So we didn't really start drinking until we were in our 30s. So we're catching
How
up.
sad for both of you.
But we're making up for lost time. We are making up for lost time, which brings me to the next bottle.
Oh yeah. Let's let me finish this. There we go. The ancient age, which we described before. Once again, kids, the ancient age itself, as far as the bottom shelf whiskey, is not bad.
I don't love it.
Bottom way, I don't love it either.
Yeah.
But if you can eat the ancient
Yeah.
age, you're getting another whiskey value.
Right.
This is something that you can actually appreciate as a whiskey drinker. Share with your friends. Have at a party. It's not going to cost you an arm
It's
and
a
a
great
leg.
mixer.
Yes, if you choose
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah,
But I like that one on the rocks on
I
the
do
front
too.
porch.
I do too.
I do too. Which I'll get more glasses for that, and we'll do that. But
Yeah, and luckily for the new website that Ohio Liquor Control has, we were able to determine
I
where
knew
we
where to go.
could go to buy it.
thank you, James Canepa,
That's right.
Yes.
who's also due back on the podcast.
Yes.
I think he and I are supposed to take a trip together here in the month of August.
Nice.
Yeah,
Fun.
so I'm very very much excited about that.
He's a good guy.
but not at liberty to say where and what we're doing because we're spies, Blair. We're spies for the state of Ohio.
Could I come along?
I don't know. I'll find out. As long as some malicious bike rider doesn't take you out of Pelotonia this weekend,
All right.
it'll be just fine.
Let's just assume that when this airs, I'm just sitting and hanging out, waiting for my call to go for.
Oh God, I hope so.
go for a ride.
Yeah. So, but we also wanted to say, Dino, that we are really grateful to you for having us on your podcast the first time because you introduced us to the wonderful, talented young Greg
To
Hansberry,
the-
who now
as I like to call him, the son I never wanted.
the son
Right.
you never wanted. He produces our podcast.
Yes, he
And
does.
he does a great job. And also, you introduced us to John Whitney, and we've now met John Whitney's wife and sister and brothers.
brother-in-law.
And I'm pretty sure we're invited to Thanksgiving dinner. I'm
I don't know.
expecting a nice Christmas gift
Right?
now.
So what's the very next time?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the interesting thing about not only the podcasting community here in Columbus, Ohio, but also the whiskey community. Everybody seems to eventually meet somebody in the mix, and we all benefit from it in the big picture. I want to go back to the Columbus Craft Cocktail Tour, which, like I said, when you first came on, was kind of in its infancy.
Yeah.
And now I don't think a day goes by on Instagram where I don't see you with another bunch of very earnest and eager people on the tour, and it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger and going to different places and trying different things. So you're constantly reinventing that particular wheel.
It's so much fun. And we have some new venues that we've added. We now have an Uptown tour, which is super cool. So that's Wolf's Ridge Brewing, which people think of Wolf's Ridge in terms of just brewing beer, but they also have an amazing cocktail program. So Chris Cini there, he's the bar manager. He's an amazing mixologist. And then from there we go to Rishi Sushi, which Nick, the bar manager there, he's the only sommelier of sake in the state of Ohio.
I didn't know that
so
sake had a sommelier.
They do.
Wow.
They do. He went to.
And
he was
we have
trained
one
in
here.
Japan. Yeah,
Here in
he was
Columbus.
trained in Japan. He's amazing. He can tell you everything you need to know about sake and make some amazing.
How do you pronounce it?
It's sake. So this is
Sake?
one thing he taught us. Sake is a fish. Sake is the spirit.
So how did that
Sake.
get lost in the mix where everybody says, sake?
Us Americans, we
That's
just
Americans?
Yeah,
Sake.
sake.
So
Yes.
So if I say, if I go out for sushi and say, and would anybody like some sake? I'm not going to look like
Right.
like
But
If you
pompous
get,
ass.
if you ask for sushi and sake, they'll
Give you a
assume
big
you want
fish.
fish with your.
fish with my
With your
fish.
Right.
Sake. Okay,
Sake,
very
yeah.
nice. All right, I'll remember that.
And then we ended Citizens Trust, which is just also
A
on
bank.
a gay street tour. Yeah, amazing.
It's a bank, isn't
It's
it?
a great bank.
It's an old bank. Yeah, it was a bank. It's a
And now it's a
beautiful
bar?
building. Now it's a bar. Yeah, it was built in 1917. It's a beautiful old bank.
And do they keep the bank surroundings as far
Yeah,
as the
so
atmosphere goes?
they've maintained their two vaults. One is the bar, the back of the bar. The other is the mail room for the apartments upstairs. There's another one down in the restrooms. The 2-story bank lobby is maintained. The columns actually inside the bank, they were covered in plywood, and when the developers removed the plywood, the columns were kind of beat up. So they actually researched and found the company that made the columns originally, called the company. The founder's grandson was running the company, went back in his warehouse and found the original mold.
Wow.
So they were able to restore the columns exactly as they were in 1917. So pretty cool.
sweet.
So this is another part of the craft cocktail tour that you get this
Yeah.
incredible history.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Leanne researches all of these venues that we go to, and
Because I'm a big nerd and I'm all about the history of everything, the
So
history
what?
of spirits and the venues and
Haven't you heard? Nerds are hip now.
been on-
Nerds
Are
are
they?
hip now. Whether
See?
whether
That's right.
See,
John's been on
been on
several.
3.
yeah, Greg's been the only person who hasn't is
Oh, that's
Well,
right.
this
we
guy.
need to change that.
I know. I don't get out much.
That's all right.
But
Doesn't
now,
have to be much, just
now
has to
that
be
you've
once.
now that you've ventured out to the Great Southern Whiskey Bar for your whiskey business cocktail.
Yeah, I felt. I want to say I don't felt obligated. I was excited to taste it in the atmosphere of a bar to see it because it was created here. I wanted to.
Yeah.
I wanted to see my baby out there in the
I mean,
world.
that's cool.
Right?
Not everybody has we don't have a cocktail
No.
there, and we're there all the time.
Yeah. No, it was very nice
That's
of
very
Jesse to
cool.
do that, and like I said, pretty remarkable concoction when it was all said.
He's
So
and done.
delicious.
so talented. We're so lucky to have him here.
Yeah, well, he had a connection to cancer as well. He mentioned in the
Yeah.
podcast his dad currently
You know,
battling it as we speak.
And we didn't know that when we invited him to participate.
Yeah.
And at the end of the night, we brought him up to our place, and we were just emptying our most exclusive bottles. And he took a moment to say this was super
Yeah.
important to me because of my dad, and we had no idea. But we wish the best for Jesse's dad.
we're all
And
thinking
that
about you, Jesse.
those stories are exactly why we ride.
It's
It's so important to find a cure, to keep on working until we do find a cure.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll find one in our lifetime, one ultimate cure, but we've
made progress.
We've
though.
made a lot of progress and have waged a good battle.
Absolutely.
I've seen so many more cancer survivors from the age 40 to 60. I've seen more cancer survivors than I've seen cancer deaths from when I was from 20 to 30.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's pretty
Absolutely.
remarkable.
Well, and Blair can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the research that found that certain cancers in certain people have to be, it's very specific. That came from Pelotonia research dollars, that not all cancer is the same and it doesn't react the same in everyone. So they've kind of, it's like a boutique cancer treatment situation. So.
I was going to share something with you, but it seems like an odd thing to share in respects to that disease. But I have, and my record is 100% correct. And if I don't feel it, I don't say anything. But if I feel it, I say something. And everybody that I've known friends who have been diagnosed with cancer. And when I felt it, I've looked them right in the eye and said, "You're going to beat it." And my track record thus far, I'm not making this up, is 100%. I ran into my friend Mark the other day, and he goes, "I remember that first day when I told you, what they said, and you grabbed me by the shoulders and looked me in the eye and said, 'Don't worry, you're going to beat it.'" And I was like, "He's fucking crazy. What does he know?" And I go, and I asked you, I don't know. It's just something that washes over me. And like I said, if I don't get the positive, I don't say anything. I say I'm sorry to
But
hear that.
you've gotten a negative vibe, and
If I get a
Before?
negative vibe, I don't say anything.
But have you gotten a negative vibe?
Yes.
That's got to be scary.
Yeah, and that's
And
yeah.
then you got to deal with that. That,
And-
that
and-
kind of
and-
sucks.
and-
That's not a good superpower, do you know?
Yeah, I know it's not, right? I'm not gonna. They're not. Nobody's gonna make a movie out of that. Nobody's gonna make a movie out of
And
it.
you're gonna get cancer.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
What's your gift? I can tell if somebody's gonna survive cancer or die. What's your superpower? No, like no. If I had-
Dude, you're gonna be all right.
yeah, that is great. But yeah, if I could actually had the superpower to cure cancer,
Right.
then I'd be an amazing superhero. But yeah, it's just, and I digress. I apologize for that because there's other things I want to talk about, not to shift off of that. But once again, let me just say that all the efforts involved in that process that go towards that ugly disease, you're to be commended, and thank you for that. I appreciate it because my father died of lung cancer, and yeah, but he was 82 years old and smoked 5 packs of cigarettes a day.
Oh, he had a
I
good
think he
lifetime.
kind of knew,
Yeah.
where it was, how it was going to end.
Sure.
Yeah. And when he died, he died smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Well,
so
I mean-
he thought he did his part by helping, by cutting back at 2. But old Greek men, man, don't get me started. Don't get me started. How's the board game doing? Bourbon
It's-
Run.
It's doing okay.
Did
It's
you,
not.
You kind of dropped off on it a little bit because you're too busy with other things.
No, it's not that. It's just, it comes, it's not flying off the shelves, but we still are selling it.
Okay.
We just sold a couple cases to Taste of Kentucky, which is a store in Louisville. Before that, we sold a few for, I forget, was it Father's Day or
Day.
something. So yeah, I mean, we continue to sell them.
I have the flawed version.
Oh,
I
you have
see
the
it there.
scratch and dent
I
with
have-
the
no-
incorrect.
The incorrect,
Yeah.
yes. I have the collect. What I now consider, I say flawed. I now consider it to be a collector's item.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it is because I remove those cards now from every
Uh-huh.
every case. But no, they're still selling, and I'm still making the tokens all the time.
You're
But,
making the tokens.
Yeah, I
still.
make the tokens.
Are we enjoying that once again?
All right,
this is the ancient age,
okay.
and I'm telling you, man. Right after the
right,
Black
cheers.
Maple, it was
Not bad.
It was just, you know what? It wasn't that harsh of a transition. It really wasn't. This is really good. So aside from the Columbus Craft Cocktail Tour, the board game Bourbon Run, I'm glad it's still selling, and I bet, I don't know, I'm sure at some point when you two have some downtime,
We never have
you're gonna find some methodology to make that even bigger than it is. I've been intrigued by women and whiskey. I mentioned
so
earlier in the
fun.
podcast that some of the grief we got when we first started this podcast, and it wasn't intentional. It's just I didn't know any women that to bring on at the time, and then you pop up and you email me and you were the first woman on the podcast who knew her whiskey, and now you have an actual event called Women in Whiskey.
Yeah, it's super fun. So I can't even remember why we started it.
Why wouldn't you?
So the Westin Hotel, they're the Great Southern Whiskey Bar. It was when they changed from Thurber's to the Great Southern Whiskey Bar. They wanted to bring in more people, and being from the South, it's normal, or I don't want to say normal, but it's not
It's
unusual.
common.
It's common, thank you, for women to drink whiskey. But here in the North, a lot of women don't drink whiskey. So I thought, I bet there are women out there who really want to learn about whiskey. So we started this series, and it's been great fun. The very first one that we did, we had 14 or 18 guests. And so I asked the women, what brought you here? And it was really fun. There were these group of women, probably my age, a little older. They were like, we've been drinking whiskey our whole life. We just wanted to learn more about, because I talk about the distilling process and the history behind it, and we talk about the history of the particular
There's-
bottles
there's
that
a
we're
tasting
drinking.
involved in it,
There's
so
a
I'm sure.
tasting.
Yeah.
Of course.
They teach them how to taste and train their palate and all that stuff. So and then there were other ladies who were like, we just want to be around other women who are drinking whiskey. And then I asked these 2 ladies, and they were like, well, we are single. And we thought if we learned how to talk about whiskey, we would be able to pick up guys. So it's just a whole bunch of different.
To those two ladies who think that they have to further educate themselves with knowledge about whiskey to pick up guys. We're idiots. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, really. I mean, if you want to put that into your skill set, do it for you. Don't do it for us. Just be your charming selves, and that should pretty much sell it. But I got to admit, when I meet someone a woman who understands whiskey and appreciates the subtleties of certain whiskeys, I mean that's a pretty attractive
I know it got my
quality.
attention.
I know it did, right? You brought your Noah's Mill and she had her Pappy and look at you two.
I know it got my
later.
attention.
And those two collections, I assume, now have joined in a very happy whiskey union.
Yes,
Yeah, they're all on
definitely.
one shelf.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes. And we started a bourbon club too so that we could expand our collection.
You mentioned the Bourbon Club to me the last time,
Yeah.
and that's another thing that I've not actually. There's so many things I don't do.
Well, there are so many things that we do
I
that
know
you
you
just
guys
need to be
do,
a part of.
You do so much. And once again, I go back to my Bourbon Babble Whiskey Wise opening. The perception is that you guys are going 24/7.
We
That
actually aren't.
It seems like every night of the week, you guys are out doing something.
We
Yeah.
are. That's true.
That's true.
If I were
That's
the
true.
paparazzi that were following you, I'd be like, gosh, shit, I need a night off.
Yeah. You know what? That we're just very. I have ADD, and so I'm
do?
I do. Yeah. So I'm all over the
You
place.
do?
Yes.
I see nothing. Normally, I'm good about picking up on that. I
Yeah.
see no. Oh, I'm glad you're just visiting
Yeah.
here because this place would drive you fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It would drive you nuts. It would drive you crazy. But you see, you're ADD, and I'm a little OCD. So
Okay.
even though there's a lot of shit, you still notice a little bit of
Order.
Right, no.
obsessive compulsive
Yeah.
order to everything.
Yeah, and I don't mind stuff. It just has to be in the order that I put it in. Like
And this
that's.
is, well, then maybe, but that's OCD.
But I
not
don't-
OCD.
But I don't have that hyperactive part. I don't have ADHD. I have just ADD. So I'm all over the place. Like I can't think of just one thing at a time. I start on something and then I switch to this thing, go to this thing, and then I come back to this. So I have a lot
do
going
all
on.
the things you think about though get solved and
They
accomplished?
get done.
Okay, they get done.
Yeah, I mean everything that we do. Yeah, it's like
We work
Do
on
you
them.
suffer from any of the D's
Not that I'm aware
that
of.
you're aware of? Yeah, I'm a little OCD. Yeah.
no.
And-
The great thing though is he's such a good sport, and I have all these crazy ideas, and he's such a
Big old
wonderful.
sport.
He's a designer. He's a great designer and a good wordsmith, and so.
So I'm the one creating logos and doing all of our
Yeah.
social media.
You guys are a good
stuff,
team.
and-
Yeah, we are. We
She
are a
has
really
these
good
great
team.
ideas, and I bring them to life.
Yeah.
That's an amazing team.
And I don't know. I'm very lucky to have found someone who can put up with me because literally every other day I'm coming up with something new that I want to.
When you
And
say
I
some-
Can I-
no,
can
no,
I
no, no, no,
do
come
that
back
a
there
little
for
louder?
1 second. When you say somebody to put up with you. What do you think is difficult about you? Other than, do you think that the ADD and the OCD is something that is to put up with?
oh, for sure. Like literally every other day I have a new idea. And I'm like, okay,
Well,
let's.
we
so
call that
let's-
being creative and
Well, but
inspired.
some
We don't call that
people-
ADD. Yeah, you're an idea
Some
gal.
people might find that annoying, especially because I rope him into everything, and he's just a really good sport. And he's like, oh yeah, we can do this, and I can design that. And
Let's fit that in next Tuesday.
I'm not being rude when I'm looking at my phone, but maybe this makes a little bit of sense. You sent me a text shortly
Yes.
just last week about an idea that you had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, share it.
So, are we talking about the one with the improv cocktail?
The
or-
improv cocktail idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also sent you one about writing a pilot for a Bureau of Motor Vehicles
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
Like that's how I operate.
So now I understand it all.
And now you understand what I have to deal with.
As soon as Blair sends me the logos for those two things, I'll start to move along.
Oh, we can do that.
On the creative
I
process
can have them
of
to you
it.
next
And
Tuesday.
John Whitney will shoot it, and Greg Hansberry will be the Uber driver.
But I
This
do.
is
I
a
have-
partnership. Let's toast to that. That sounds like this is a done deal.
Not legally black.
All right, we're ready. We're at the request of my audio producer. John Whitney doesn't care. He thinks the YouTube can go as long as it wants, but he's trying to keep me under the hour, if you will. And there's a couple things I want to get to before we lock it up. And one of them is the Columbus Cocktail Classic,
Yes.
which is taking place in September.
Yes.
Which I have agreed to be the master of ceremonies for, even though I'm not really sure what that entails at this point. But I don't care.
You're gonna be great.
You'll
be fine.
Is that
You'll be fine.
If that's what it is, I'll be great. All right. But I'm looking forward to it. So what is the Columbus Cocktail Classic going to consist of?
So it's going to be the very first cocktail convention in Ohio, in Columbus for sure. It's going to be at the Joseph Hotel, and it's going to be downstairs on the first floor. We're going to have vendors who are non-alcoholic vendors. So like our craft cocktail tour will have a booth. Reason being, we can't have two liquor licenses going on at the same time. So the Soul Bar will still be operational.
Yeah, so we'll have like barware people.
Yeah,
and-
barware, ice people, whatever, and hopefully a podcast, Hansberry. We'll see.
Well,
Do we sell T-shirts?
we'll do it.
Absolutely.
We can do whatever we
We could.
want.
Sell
We'll
whatever
load
you
up
want.
on merch. And
second-
when does this take place?
Sunday, September 8th from 2
2
to
to
6
6.
p.m. So on the second floor will be sort of like our cocktail tour under one roof. So we'll have venues giving away snacks and cocktails. The cocktails are always the star of the show. And then we'll have some popcorn and some other stuff. And then we'll have seminars going on throughout the day. So Krista Lobby at M will be doing a cocktail class.
Crystal Lavi also has been on the
Yeah.
podcast. That one is called that's some broad. That's
Dame.
some dame. That's some
Yeah.
dame. Somebody else got broad. I can't remember. I'm surprised we haven't given you broad.
I'm happy with Broad.
Yeah, you're good with it. But
And then Booze and Broad. Yeah. That's kind of cool, actually.
no, actually, we were singing it
About
like
the
a
website.
like we were singing it like the Christmas. We were singing that earlier. It's the Christmas song that you'll never hear. Remember, silver and gold, silver
Yeah.
and gold,
Yes.
boozing and broads, boozing and broads. that's the.
As I look up to see Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra on the wall.
That's the animated Christmas show you're never going to see. But
It could've
anyway,
been. It could've
we can produce it with our new production company.
There you go.
All right, I digress. So more back to the event on 9/8.
So, and then Gary White at Denmark on High is going to be doing a class on infusions.
Nice.
And then Chad White, who started the Ohio Rum Society, is going to do a rum
relation to Gary White?
seminar.
No.
No
No?
relation.
All right.
And that's going to be a moderated event. It'll be moderated by Chad Kessler, who is the lead
And
distiller.
they're no relation either.
No.
They just
No.
have the same
Two
first
Chads.
name.
Same,
Two
two Chads,
Chads,
two whites, two Chads, two
and
whites.
then they're gonna flip, and we're gonna do Distilling 101 with Chad Kessler because he's the lead distiller and person who started 451 Distillery here.
Okay,
in
wow,
town.
all right, yeah.
And then the grand finale, so to speak, is called the Culinary Cocktail Throwdown, which is a team competition.
Culinary
Cocktail Throwdown.
Throwdown. Culinary conjures up kitchen in my mind.
Yeah.
So,
Correct.
Yep. So it's going to be a bartender and a chef. And the bartender is going to create a cocktail, and the chef is going to create an amuse-bouche that pairs with it. And there will be a panel of judges, and the studio audience will get to taste everything that they create, and we'll pick a winner, and the judges will pick a winner, and then there will also be a fan favorite.
a fan favorite from the audience.
Right.
Right.
As well. All right,
Yep.
and all this takes place at the Joseph
The
Hotel.
Joseph Hotel.
On Sunday night 8. And
Yep.
do people just show up?
Nope. They
Or
have
do you
to
have to get
buy.
tickets?
They have to buy tickets in advance.
How?
They can go to what's the name of our
The Columbus.
the Columbus Cocktail Classic.com.
You're as bad as I am when it
Yeah,
comes to
so
websites
it
and
will
pushing the
be-
social media. Thank you
It
very
will be
much.
live in the next couple of weeks. So by the time this airs,
Yeah, it'll be up and running.
it'll be up and
Yeah.
running.
It'll be up and running.
Yeah, so ticket prices vary from $30 to $160. So $30 is just general admission to get you into the vendors, and then they go up
add a seminar,
or
add two
two.
seminars, and then the whole package is 160
Yeah,
for the
but
VIP.
it's going to be a lot of fun, and we've got some great sponsors. So it's a nonprofit event, so we're dependent on ticket sales and donations from sponsors to support it, and any proceeds will go to the USBG, the United States Bartenders Guild Columbus chapter, and then the Hardy Center, which is a center in North Linden that is very near and dear to our heart. So
That's good.
Yeah.
It's always good to be able to give something to the
Yeah,
things
super
that
important.
you're passionate about.
And we've got some great people on board. Jesse Hubbard and Chef at the Westin. They're going to be in the competition.
Jesse's involved in this
yes,
mix.
yes,
as well?
always, yeah. And Moet Hennessy is going to be one of our sponsors. I don't know if have you ever met Ann Dimmick? She's the
Yes.
Okay, so
I met her at the Wild Turkey tasting.
Yeah, so Campari America. She's wonderful. She always
I want her on the podcast as well.
She's amazing.
You need to have her on the podcast.
Yeah, she's such a great community like anything you ask her, the answer is always yes. And we ask her for everything. We feel so bad because we're always asking her for stuff. But Blair texted her the other day, and she's like, "Just tell me how it works," and I'm in. We originally were sponsored by Diageo, but we and they offered us money and product, and we had to say no, thank you, based on things that came out recently about their corporate culture. So so we've declined.
Specifically with Bullet.
Yeah, and so we've declined their offer, and so we're going to go with some other people.
Interesting. That's another rabbit hole to dig into some other
Yeah.
time.
Some other
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Not right for this one right now.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I would love to discuss that maybe after the podcast.
Yeah.
Is all said and done.
Yeah, but it's going to be a really fun event. The first one, so we hope it's going to be a success. We're praying, we're crossing our fingers.
Yeah, we're not looking to make money. We just want to
Have fun.
Yeah,
And
and-
hopefully have a second one and have
and-
people interested
Well,
in...
you've had a third cocktailing for the cure.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You've had how many Pelotonias under your belt? 11?
11.
11.
Well, this will be the 11th. Yeah.
All right, so you guys have a nice track record of repeating yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So here's hoping that the Columbus Cocktail Classic and the
Start of great things.
culinary cocktail throwdown.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done.
I was hoping for
well
another
done.
C in there for more alliteration. Will be a big success on September the 8th at the Joseph Hotel.
Yep.
So once this airs, there'll be more information online for you guys to check that out and join us there as well. I have one last question before we wrap it up, and I mentioned a couple other things before we go. Since we spoke it 2 years ago, almost our anniversary, since we've spoken 2 years ago, I don't think I asked you this on the last podcast, but there was already a bourbon explosion happening, and it has been happening for years prior to you being on the pod, and it continues to grow and explode, which is great. I think it's great. I don't think this is going anywhere anytime soon. It seems to be expanding, but with all the different venues that you go to and all the different whiskeys that you experience and all the different concoctions of different cocktails that these magnificent bartenders create on a regular basis, I want to know from each of you, do you have a sit-at-home, everyday go-to whiskey?
Oh my gosh.
It could be one that you
Okay,
favor more. I'm
so-
talking about an everyday that you know. Maybe there's plenty of it,
As
so you
you
don't have to
know.
worry about running out. And maybe it's easily accessible and available to purchase, and that's why it's your everyday because it's just there
Yeah.
as a comfort.
Yeah. So I love Old Granddad. I love Wild Turkey. We love Very Old Barton. My sister just came up from Louisville, so
You turned
We
us
brought
on
that
to
to
the
you
very
the
old
first
time.
Barton, and I have thus spread the word.
yeah.
And my friend Jamie Sanfilippo says, I was just drinking something that my friend brought from Kentucky. You know, it's only $14 a bottle. It's called Very Old Barton. I go, you're an idiot. You had it at my house like 6 months ago, and I told you about it. But I'm glad that somebody jolted your memory.
Yeah.
The Very Old Barton.
Yeah, and of course we can get Weller easily
But
now.
no, but you're throwing out a lot of names, but
Okay,
you're not
okay.
zeroing in
Zero
on
in
something
on
like
one.
Leanne has come home and she doesn't want to think about what to drink. She just knows that if she pours something into a glass, it's going to be a go-to cocktail. I can tell you mine is Jack Daniels on a daily basis.
It's not Jack Daniels.
It's for me. It's Jack Daniels. I can pour whether it's single barrel, Gentleman Jack, or just the regular Jack Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Jack Daniels guy. That's what swayed me over to whiskeys from Scotch. So I feel an affection and a loyalty to the product.
God, what do I drink most
Did you hear
of?
me, Brown Foreman?
Old
A
Granddad.
loyalty to the product. A loyalty to the product.
So here's the thing. We tend we tend to find ourselves with about 5 that if we run out of one, we've got 3 or 4 of the others.
Uh-huh.
And I would say they are Very Old Barton, Ancient Age,
Ancient age.
Old Granddad,
Uh-huh.
and every time I go to Kentucky or Indiana, I get the 114
Right?
rather than. But here I get the 100, and I
Sure,
love the
it's
bottled
good.
and bond. Wild Turkey,
Love Wild Turkey.
and I would say right up in there is the Makers. When we don't have those, we have Makers.
Okay, and every one of those whiskeys that you've mentioned, aside from the Makers, is $25 or under.
Yeah.
Makers too.
Yeah,
Makers is right around the 25.
Right. Is it?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I think
I'm
so.
Not gonna. I'm not gonna
Maybe
quibble.
27.
I'm not gonna quibble. but yeah, the Ancient Age and the Very Old Barton. And
Yeah,
the
they're
Old Granddad.
they're in the low
Yeah,
teens.
yeah.
We like the
so there
cheap
you go,
stuff.
folks.
Yeah.
We've
There are
we
plenty
have
of
preached
great.
this from the get-go on whiskey business that you don't have to spend a shitload of money to have good
No.
whiskey. There's so many great whiskeys that are $50 and under, and so many great whiskeys that are $25 and under, and Ancient
So many
Age,
great ones that are
and this one-
15
Yeah,
and
I
under.
know, right? So that's terrific. But the Black Maple,
Delicious.
it's interesting. We mentioned that when you bought it, it was
47.
Six.
$47 a bottle on the dreaded, and we despise it. And I don't care if it's, I know it's illegal, but I've never been a fan of it. The secondary market, you could have sold that bottle for how much?
About $1,000.
900 and
About
what did you say? We looked it
About
up.
$1,000.
Yeah,
$1,000.
So $984 was what it showed.
I have an anniversary bottle of Elmer T. Lee that's not open back there in the other room. I know I could sell that for I don't know how much right now. If I looked it up, I'd probably be like, oh shit. But no, it's gonna get
Yeah.
consumed.
Yeah.
We shared it with you guys for a reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That's what it is. Share the whiskey.
Exactly.
Hansberry. I think it's on teesprings.com, right?
That's right. Whiskeys for drinking,
No,
arts
no,
for
no,
collecting.
No. See,
Something
you
like
had
that.
a moment. You had a chance.
Come on.
You had a chance to get it
Damn
right.
it.
You had a chance. I thought, no, the
Arts
the-
for
the-
collecting,
the
drinks,
t-shirt. The
drinks,
t-shirt.
whiskeys for drinking.
No.
I don't know.
That's a big deal.
He even threw it underhand to
The
you.
T-shirt is collect art, drink whiskey. Right?
Right.
That makes a better T-shirt slogan. It really does. I like that a lot better.
Collect art, drink whiskey.
I love
you
that.
You get a Picasso, frame it. Yeah.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You have a rare painting. Let everybody look and admire it, which they will do. You have a great whiskey. Congratulations. Share that bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And with your friends and so forth and so on.
Yeah, and so just one last thing. So when after the cocktailing for a cure, we brought all the bartenders up to our place. I think I mentioned this before, but so Jesse Hubbard, who's from Louisville and has access to everything, he took a picture of everything that we shared and sent it to his friends in Louisville, and they were like, "Holy shit, we can't believe you're getting this!
Where are you?"
Like, But that's what we love. We love to share with people who appreciate it, and it's an experience. It's a moment. It's
That's what it's about.
sharing it
That's
with
right.
people.
That's what it's about.
Yeah,
I mean,
it truly is, and that's what
you
the
know.
makers of the whiskey want. That's what
I
Julie Van Winkle
have,
wants.
I
That's what
have
everybody
rare
wants.
books, collector edition, first edition books that when I die, hopefully won't get marked $1 at an estate sale. Hopefully they'll go to somebody who appreciates literature. Well, I actually have it in my will. I know exactly where they're going to go. But yeah, it's the same thing. Those you if you want to borrow them now, you can. But share the good shit in your life.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
life's too short
Absolutely.
I agree.
to hoard it. What
Yep.
do I need to? Oh no, not that one.
Right.
Oh no, not that one. What are you saving it for?
Right. Yeah. It's not for the saving, it's for the drinking.
I mean, even as we speak, they say that technology and science is going to make us live even longer than we are. Okay, well, all the more reason to share your whiskey and share the good things that you have in your life, because you don't want to die and not have experienced a moment just like we had tonight.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very
Right.
generous of you to bring the black maple. Thank you.
Happy to do it.
And,
yes.
and you know what? Very generous for you to bring the ancient H&H, which I know is going to stay here. The Black Maple's going home with you as well. It should be. I insist upon that. But the ancient is staying in the stock.
That's right. Brought it for
So
you.
I
We
want to
brought it for
remind
you.
everybody that aside from the great fun that we have here on Whiskey Business on a regular basis, that we are doing something very special on August the 20th. Once again at the Upfront stage, The Premise. Whiskey Business presents The Premise. A podcast and comedy game show with two very capable comedians being handed a comedy premise for the very first time on that particular evening. They have 20 minutes to write, 3 to 5 minutes to stand up. While they're writing, we have 20 minutes of great entertainment with special guests and very special, great comedians. So 8:20 at the Upfront stage at Shadowbox Live. We hope you can join us for another sellout crowd. Did I pretty much cover that well? Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Well, and make sure you check our social media feeds. We'll make sure we have links to buy tickets and more information. But we actually wanted to share a review.
Always share a review. I love the reviews.
Well, and this guy, or gal, the name is No More Bull Honk, please. And this person's rate and review, we appreciate because it has created an engagement for us.
All right, go.
That is never a bad thing. It is a 1-star review.
What?
Really awful.
What?
Hey, not everyone should have a podcast. This particular one really makes the point. So, thanks to No More Bull Honk, because your engagement has helped other people discover our podcast. Thank you. I'm sorry. I gotta be fair.
What?
We always read
We
5-star
do. We
reviews.
read the 5 stars. We read the 4
So
stars.
we got our first 1-star.
I wonder
review.
what one he
He
listened
went to the
to.
premise live. He went to the live.
He went to the live show last
We
night,
enjoyed
and it
that.
was massively unfunny. So to
No.
to each
Man,
one's
is that the one he
own-
went to?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Well, that was our
Or
first
she.
one, and we had to push that baby out. We had to push that
was-
baby
Hey,
out, and
That
and-
was some funny shit.
And for those
We
of
got
you
his
who were at the
$10.
first one and who listened to the first one, we what was it? Bull honk?
Yeah, no more bull honk, please.
No, all right, to no more bull honk. Listen to me.
Uh-oh.
To no more bull honk. Honk or hunk?
Honk.
Honk.
Like,
a honk,
like shit.
honk
Yeah,
the
no more
horn.
bull honk.
All right, to no more bull honk, I'm going to ask you to do this. I'm going to ask you to come back on 8:20 and watch.
ticket.
And
We'll
buy,
comp it.
no, we're not going to comp it.
Okay.
Fuck you. Pay for the ticket. Pay for the ticket and come back to the premise on 8:20, because you know what? We don't rest on any type of laurels. We've gotten a shitload of 5-star reviews based on other whiskey podcasts that we've done over the years. I totally appreciate what you're saying, and I respect your opinion. But now I'm going to ask you to take the extra step and come back on 8:20 and watch what we have totally torn apart, criticized, and evaluated from our first effort, and are trying to improve on the second one. That was our first baby being pushed out of the comedy womb, if you will. So, to you, Bull Honk. And you know what? Maybe you're a hunk as well. God bless you if you are. But for Bull Honk, bring your bull back And let's see if we can change your mind. All right. So thank you to my guests tonight, Leigh Sims, Blair Beavers, Columbus Craft Cocktail Tour. How do people find out about that if they want to engage you on a regular basis to do that? Just,
ColumbusCraftCocktailTour.com.
that was easy enough.
Yeah.
Check that out for a great evening. It's way less than you would spend if you were actually to go to have this many cocktails and this many appetizers at any given bar at any given night. And this way you get to experience it all. So it's very, very reasonable
And
deal.
great hosts.
And a great host
And
with Leigh Sims.
We like to look at it as being at a chef's table with bartenders.
There you go. There you go. Whiskey Business is a Never the Luck production. Produced by the always capable and sometimes hungover Greg Hansberry, if he's just been to a big Jeff
Occasionally.
Lynne concert the night before. Thank you, Greg. He's sitting off to the side. Normally he's where you're sitting, Blair, but
Yep.
but he chose the other seat. And of course, amazingly captured on video for our YouTube channel by look at this. He's actually going to put more than a
There we
thumbnail.
go.
Look at that, John Whitney. He's got
Yeah.
the T-shirt on for the premise. John Whitney does an amazing job on YouTube. That's Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis on YouTube. And, of course, me as your host, all the opinions that I share are personally mine and of those of my reluctant and sometimes not so reluctant guests. A pleasure to have you kids back.
Thank you for
on
having
this,
us. We
our
appreciate it.
almost
And thank you
2-year
for everything
anniversary.
you've done for our
We've
podcast.
done nothing. We've all helped one another. You've helped us. If we've helped you, great. But I honestly
Yeah.
think, as far as when I look back on some of the, Father Nick Ventura, Christina
love
Basham,
him. Yeah,
Chris
love her.
Delavi, yeah, you because of you.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We owe you the greater debt of thanks. I'm Dino Tripodis. Until the next bottle, see ya.
Cheers.
Cheers.